In this video, we're going to be looking at the claim that the brain is a computer. In particular, we're going to look at an argument that it is not. So the way how this argument would go is they would say, people assert that the brain is like a computer. And when we say computer, what we're thinking of here is a man-made computer, a laptop, maybe, a Dell or whatever, but a silicon digital computer. And they say that this is not true. Well, in many ways, it is obviously not true. On a purely physical level, it's clearly not true because the brain is made out of different stuff than a regular digital computer. But I would say that that's not the claim that people are making. And to kind of understand why this is fallacious, I would actually say this is almost a straw man argument. So a straw man argument is where you come up with an argument which is easier to attack than your actual kind of opponent. And so hopefully convince people that way. But I would say it's a bit like saying, well, someone says that a Whippet is a pug, and it's clearly not true that a Whippet is a pug, therefore, I'm right. And yes, a Whippet is not a pug, but this isn't what is being claimed. Instead, what someone might say is that a pug is a dog and a Whippet is a dog. This makes much more sense. So similarly, what we're saying, or what cognitive scientists assert or assume, is that no, the brain is an instance of, it's a kind of computer, but also a digital computer is another instance of a computer. And so here, when people talk about the brain being a computer, we're really not talking about the brain being like an artificial digital computer. We're talking about a computer more generally, something that computes. And if you're going to go down that route, you could actually think, well, not only is an artificial computer something that computes, and not only is the brain something that computes, but, well, what about other living things? What about a plant? Is a plant a computer? Well, it's obviously not a computer in the traditional, in one sense. You can't type, where's the keyboard, where's the display. That's obviously not the way in which it is a computer. But you could consider it a computer in that plants have inputs and they do things, they make decisions, there are internal processes that happen in the plant, and there are decisions that the plant makes and then affects those decisions. So for example, plants can detect the level of water. Maybe some plants can detect the level of salinity. Maybe they can detect the different types of nutrients in one direction versus another direction. Maybe they can detect the amount of light coming from one direction or another direction. And based on all of these inputs, you could argue that plants, through kind of interesting, complicated cellular processes, end up deciding. They process this information, if you like, and they make decisions of which way to grow. How much should you grow your plant, your main kind of plant material? But you can see I'm not a botanist here. Should I flower at this point? How much effort should I put into growing? I don't want to anthropomorphize plants, but you get the point. how much time and effort should be spent growing roots versus the above ground material and so on. And so if you think of a computer more generally as something that takes in inputs and produces outputs, then sure, why not? You could also look at an ant colony and say, maybe an ant colony is a computer. And I won't go into this in this video, but I'm going to have more material available on the module site where we can go into this in a bit more detail. But people base entire scientific careers on looking at ideas of distributed computation, and they look at, they take inspiration from nature in working out how to examine what evolution has done in terms of kind of algorithms and computation, and see whether these things can be used to solve problems. I'll just leave you with the idea that ant colonies and slime mold, things like this, have actually been used to inspire solutions to problems such as the traveling salesman problem. So if you find that interesting, you can go and look that up in a bit more detail. But hopefully this video clarifies what is actually meant by the claim that the brain is a computer.